Alright, hi everybody, hope you're doing well. In this video we're going to talk about how to make a drop-down menu with CSS, JavaScript and HTML. As you can see, this is the drop-down menu. We're going to go through the JavaScript and the CSS, but we're going to focus on JavaScript. But don't worry, I'm going to go through the CSS later in the video. So the idea of the drop-down menu is to have an element with a class of height that has displayed none, and then we're going to listen to the context menu event in another element and then display the menu at the coordinate of the cursor. We're going to see later that we need to offset the cursor coordinate with respect to the scroll of the page so we don't have any problems. We're going to see that later. Also, we see that if the cursor is in the lower part of the page, we need to display the menu from here to the top. Otherwise, we display the other way around, meaning from the top to the bottom. All right, so we're going to start with this HTML, then we're going to go to the JavaScript, and later in the video I'm going to explain the CSS. All right, so let's see what we have here in the index file. So we have the basic report, meta tags, and the UTF. Then we import the style sheets for the CSS and the icon, so we have a cool icon here. Also, we give it a title to the page. Now we're going to have, I didn't close this, we're going to have an update to put all our stuff. So we're going to start by putting some random things here to test the. This is not that important to the menu, it's just to have something. All right, so as you can see, we have a couple of photos and a couple of titles that persist in the top of the window. All right, so it's just H1s with images and texts. All right, so just before closing the body tag, we're going to create the element for the menu. All right, so you're going to use UL here, and you're going to give it the class of menu and start with the height class. Also, we're going to give it an ID of menu. Now you're going to put the options for the menu. Now you're going to put the elements of the UL using list elements. So you're going to have two classes of options, one for a menu item and one for a separator. All right. Now the separator is the same, but it doesn't have anything, and we're going to see later how we display a line, and we do the same with the rest. All right. Okay. All right. Now, and in the end of the page, we're going to import our JavaScript file. All right, we should have everything. All right, now let's do some JavaScript. First, we're going to create a helper function to select any element in the page using the query selector. So to the function, we're going to give it a query selector, either a point to select a class, hashtag to select ID, or a name to select a name element. All right, so we're going to have three constants here, the constant for the app, and we're going to select the app using the ID of the app. We're going to do the same for the menu. Now I'm going to have a variable to see if the menu is active or not. Now I'm going to ensure that the class list of the menu has the height class at the start of the app. Now I'm going to create two functions, one for hiding the menu and another to show the menu. So here what we do is we remove the hide first, the hide class, and then we add to the class list the show class. Essentially, we are showing here the menu. Now we do the opposite in the hide menu. All right, we are almost there. Now we're going to create the main function that is going to move the menu when the context menu event is called. We're going to see this later, all right? But for now, let's create the move menu function. First of all, we do prevent default, so we don't have the OS menu. We set the menu active to true. Now first, let's see how we're going to call this function. So we're going to add an event listener that is going to listen to the context menu event, and it's going to call the move menu function. And to see what happens, we're going to console log the event that we get in the function. All right, so as you can see, when we click inside of the app element, we get this console log and we don't get the OS menu. If we do outside, we get the OS menu and we don't get the branch. So let's see here. The two numbers that we need to see here, client X and the client Y. This is the position of the cursor inside the window display, what the browser is displaying to you. All right, so we're going to here create two coordinates for the X. I mean, one coordinate for the X and one coordinate for the Y axis. And what we're going to do is set the left and top style properties of the menu to those coordinates. All right, let's see if this works. And I have a typo. Great. One thing that I totally forget to do is here we need to show the menu to be able to see it, right? And as you can see, it's something weird, right? We are not seeing the menu. That's because it's up here. So we need to count the X position, so the height, the vertical axis from the top to the really bottom here, and count the scroll position. Hope that makes sense. So what we're going to do is retrieve the window scroll and add that to the screen position of the X and the Y. So we offset for the window scroll. We do the same for both of them. In this case, we only have problems with the vertical axis, but you could have the same problem with the horizontal axis. All right, let's see if this works. As you can see, we scroll far down and this works. But now we have other problem. That is, if we go really far down, the menu hides outside the page and we don't want that. So what we're going to do is calculate how much the menu scrolls down. I'm going to rest that to the vertical position to put it from the top. So let's see if the code makes more sense. So we're going to create a Y window offset. All right, that's going to be, so this is the vertical coordinate for the cursor. We're going to add to that the menu client height. So the height of the menu, and we're going to rest to that the height of the window that we're going to define here. So the window inner height is the height of the content that you are seeing, not the height of the whole browsers, only the content. So essentially what it is doing is calculating how much the menu is going outside the range. And what we're going to do here is say, if that value is positive, meaning it's going outside the screen, we're going to subtract that to the Y coordinate. So it's going up. All right, let's see if this works. As you can see, the menu is not going outside the window anymore, but there's something funky, right? It's going always to the top, and I want to display from the cursor up. So what we need to do here is we need to add to the offset the amount of the difference from the window height and the coordinate of the cursor in the vertical axis. So what we're doing is calculating the whole mouse and the window and getting this tiny number here. So we're going up from that, right? Hope that makes sense. I know this might be a little bit complicated, but in the end result is very cool. So as you can see, if we go up, the menu is going from this corner here. And if we click from the bottom of the screen, the menu is going to display for this corner. One last thing that we need to account for is that we need to close the menu, right? So what we're going to do is that we're going to add another event listener to this that is going to only listen from the click event. I'm going to give it a function. I'm going to give it a callback for this. And what we're going to do is say if the menu is active, we're going to hide the menu and set the menu active to false. All right, so as you can see now, we can click outside, but only in the app. So we don't have any problems clicking in the menu itself, right? So the event listener only listens to in the app element. Hope that makes sense. All right, and we are done with the JavaScript. So this is all. If you like this part, give it a like, subscribe for more, and yeah, comment if you have any questions. Now we're going to do an overview of the CSS. So let's go. First, we import some fonts so the page looks a little bit better. We make it so all the elements has box sizing content box. This is better for some minor things about padding and things. Yeah, this is for fixing some problems with margin and padding things in the elements. So don't worry that much about that. Then we make the body margin 0, put in the font family open sans. We make it the position relative, so we can position absolute other elements inside the body and a background of a sort of gray. Now for the app element, we give it a slightly lighter gray, a width of 80, a margin of 0 and auto. This is for centering the element. Let's see it live. So this centers the app. Now, hide feed content. This might be not that necessary having a lot of content. The text color white. a padding of 15 and line height of 30. This is so we don't have all the text cramped up. Great. Now the hide and show class only toggles between display none and display block. Now the menu has margin 0, color black, a border of 1 pixel, position absolute, so we can position that with left, top, bottom, and right. Let's see that. So as you can see, we are positioning with left top, and we can also do right bottom, but remember that we need the position absolute. Without this, the whole thing works. We give it a width of 200 pixels, a background of right, padding top and bottom of 10, and 0 to the right and to the left, and a border radius of 4. Now the separators, that this is the menu items, has a display block, a height of 1 pixel, a background of grayish, and a margin of 5 and 10 pixels. So it has some space here. Use a select node, so the user can select the separator. The menu item has a display grid, a grid template or columns of 30 pixels and auto. So the first element is going to be sort of an icon, and it's going to have a width of 30 pixels, and the second item is going to have a width of auto. Aligning the center, so we center in the vertical position. As you can see, you see some movement there. Padding, use a select node so the user can select, and cursor pointer, so we have the cursor that is pointer. Awesome. Now some modifiers. The hover modifier, so we change the background color, and an active modifier, so when we click, we also get some feedback. Great. And finally, some classes for the images. So we put it float and float right. So we have this effect of going through the text. And at the end, we have a slime class for the headings. So we have this cool effect of sticking in the top. That's for this one, position sticky. We put here where we want the sticky. We give it a background, a padding, and a bottom of 3 pixels solid and a grayish. Alright, and that's about it. Hope you like this video. If you do, give it a like, subscribe, and I see you in the next one. Bye.